Hello everyone. You're joining me on a very therapeutic ride. I'm on the M50, which sort of links the south of Birmingham to South Wales and Newport and Cardiff. It's been a long week on the road, and Megan's having a rest day today, so got her all comfy with enough water and bits and bobs, and she's having a sleep day, so I thought I'd just bring the bike out on a quick blast, just to, clear my head, talk to myself, and therefore you guys. So I arrived home in the very early hours of this morning, half two, something like that, after obviously flying from Cyprus to Istanbul to Heathrow, a taxi from Heathrow to my good friend and the keyboard player's house, Edu, in High Barnet, to get in my car to drive to drive home. So a bit of a convoluted and long journey home, but certainly nothing to complain about. And just talking about the whole essence of this channel, this Biking to Better Mental Health thing, I really find, a lot of people would say this is not an exciting ride. I'm on a relatively scenic route on the dual carriageway doing 65. But I find this so therapeutic and so head clearing, because obviously the situation at home is not perfect, with Megan's health and things, and I'm quite good at adapting, and I'm quite good with handling that and managing that. What I find the hardest times, I think, and I'd be interested to hear how other people experience this, is obviously the two elements of what I'm doing professionally and personally are very, very extreme, and it's very, very different. Travelling and touring, and the adrenaline of playing to big audiences and the excitement of that, and then the sort of back down to reality. I don't mean that as in the sort of back down to earth, coming home, and our home life's very quiet and very we're not out and about all the time, obviously. So managing the highs and the lows and the peaks and the troughs, and sometimes, of course, the guilt of feeling like you're away enjoying yourself when the person you share your life with can't be doing that is not an easy thing to manage. Megan will be the first to say that the last thing she'd ever want is me to stay at home and sit and stare at her. I can understand that. But managing how extremely different touring with a band is to coming home and managing an imperfect domestic situation is not easy, and I find motorcycling just exceptional for that. Just a little bit of a reset, a bit of a Control-Alt-Delete in my mind, really. I'm sat on cruise control, the sun's going down ahead of me, and it's just a place where I can think about everything and also nothing at the same time. I think because you're occupied primarily with riding the bike and making sure all the other road users aren't going to kill you, you have something in the forefront of your mind to focus on, but just in the background, the emotional processing, the thought processes are all just happening, and they're ticking away. And I've done some very long days on the bike where I'm physically very, very tired at the end of the day, but mentally I feel refreshed, almost kind of emotionally cleansed in a way, just because your mind's been whirring away in the background with all the things that you've been worried about or thinking about, and quite often solutions to problems do just seem to present themselves to you whilst on a motorcycle, just boom. And that's obviously because your brain is whirring away in the background constantly. And having spoken to plenty of other riders, a good friend of mine, Mark, was saying this the other day. You don't, in the modern day, you don't just ride a motorcycle. Really, people don't just ride a motorcycle to get from A to B. You buy a car for that functionality. A motorcycle is about the journey, how the journey makes you feel, about these solitary moments, a moment on your own. Because with a crash helmet on, you're just another bloke, you're just another geezer on the road, aren't you? So yeah, it's a wonderful thing, and I find getting home from relatively intense experiences, an hour or so on the bike after that, or the next day, just helps manage. It just puts a shock absorber on that emotional shift and that shift of focus, and I find it really, 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 it's been invaluable over the last year. And this is such a lovely route. I mean, it's not, you're not going to get your knee down along here, but the M50. I always used to joke. I used to play in Cardiff a lot at a venue called the Live Lounge, and I used to travel from Birmingham, and the rest of the band used to travel from London, and they'd be in monster traffic all the time. Whereas this is 10 to 5, well, quarter to 5 now. But I used to travel at about 6 o'clock on a Wednesday night to get to that gig, and it felt like they built this road just for me. I'm not entirely sure what demand they were expecting for the M50, but it certainly hasn't been met, which is delightful. If anyone wants a route in from Birmingham to South Wales and fancies just a little cruise, it's just lovely, and there's very rarely anybody on it. So yeah, I always felt like this road was built just for me when I was working in Cardiff a lot. I did twice a month at the Live Lounge for about 8 years, I think. And I did once a week, obviously when I lived in London. That was very, very easy, but Megan and I moved back just after COVID, and obviously we've been in Birmingham all through her cancer battle, so those kind of gigs, those proper, in the heat of the moment gigs. Oh, hello mate, let's not put myself in a position where he can have me off. Right, let's go. Right, there we go. Those kind of floor wedge monitor gigs, loud tube amps in a small venue, a couple of hundred people, whites of the eyes jobs. I don't really do any of those anymore. Well, I don't do any of those anymore. Obviously my life profile's changed, my career profile's changed, and one of the handy things about touring is when I'm away, and I can put things in place to make sure Megan's alright, and people to look after Meg if she needs, and all of that sort of thing. But when I'm home, I'm home. Whereas the sort of bread and butter gigs, the small venue gigs where, you're sort of out 6 o'clock on a Wednesday and not back till 3 in the morning, and you've done the same on Monday, and then it's the same on Thursday, Friday. Yeah, I just don't do those anymore, just because, the structure of my life's changed. But where was I going with that? Yeah, I do. It's such a different skill. It's a completely different skill to the in-ear monitoring, precision, artist touring vibe. Obviously you're playing the same instrument quite often, or a lot of the time with the same people, but just in a different mindset and a different frame of mind and a different sonic projection, how you perceive the sound and also how the audience perceives the sound. And it means you play very, very differently, and the focus of your playing and the emphasis is very different. I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it. Just the emphasis of what you're trying to convey seems to change when you are monitoring yourself in a different way. And I've made the adaption. I've gone through the adaptive process. I'm tired, so my vocabulary is now limited. Gone through the adaptive process of that, and I used to feel quite uncomfortable on in-ear monitors for a long time because it's just not how I ever perceived the guitar. Whereas now I think a loud amp would scare the life out of me. I don't know. But yeah, I haven't done any of those kind of gigs for a long time, and it'd be nice to do one again at some point. Never say never. We're coming towards my favourite bit of this journey, which is where we sort of slightly get into more sort of valley-esque landscape. It's beautiful around here, and what a lovely night. I did think on the flight home last night that I wouldn't mind downloading my thoughts on a ride today, but I had no idea what the weather was going to be like, and it actually predicted it to be a bit grim. But yeah, once I got Megan sorted this morning, I saw the weather and thought, you know what, let's go a little scoot. But you can see what I mean. The traffic is not, I don't mean overtaken twice here, but for coming on 5 o'clock on a Monday night, is the time of recording, there's nobody here. Yeah, they built the road just for me. Yeah, it's been a long week. I've been on the road with an artist called Sogand, who's a Persian Iranian artist, and her backstory and her attitude and just the whole thing, her celebrity and artistry means in her community is unbelievable. So not that I ever want to delve into politics on this channel, but if you're a woman, you're not allowed to sing or dress, in any way they would say provocatively. In the West we'd probably call it normal. Any form of female expression is illegal. So Sogand actually did time in prison in Iran for singing in solitary confinement, and her experience with that sounds quite horrific actually. But she managed to get out and get to Europe, and where she relaunched her career, and now she's a emigre, exile Persian pop star, and touring with her has been one of the greatest experiences because quite often the shows transcend music. Obviously I'm not in that community, and I had no prior experience of her as an artist or her music, so when she put her band together and we all rehearsed in London, and it was for all of us, I think I can speak for everyone in the gig, it was just another gig with a great artist, great voice, great songs, but it was just another gig. Play the songs, go home. But the first show we ever did with her, which was in Istanbul, when we came on, just seeing what she means to her community and her legion of fans. So there's people crying and throwing flowers on the stage, and she's such an icon and a symbol of female empowerment and female hope, that it's really hard not to be drawn in by that. I mean, it's incredible to tour with her. So this week we rounded off the end of her kind of winter into spring tour. We flew to Paris. We got the train to Paris, the Eurostar, and we did a great venue, which I can't remember the name, but I'll put the tour poster up, which was literally just off the Arc de Triomphe, like on the big roundabout. I mean, what a location. That show was great, really enjoyed it, and then early morning next morning, and we flew to Cyprus via Istanbul. And I love Istanbul. It's unfortunate that we didn't actually get a chance to really see anything other than the inside of the airport. But because our flight got delayed, our first flight, and we had a transfer, that involved getting off and running to the next gate. So that was exciting. Thankfully, all our bags and kit made it as well. And yeah, arrived in Cyprus, and I think the Cyprus show and the Cyprus experience has been probably one of, if not the close run thing with Canada actually, but one of the best experiences we've had on tour with her. The hotel was absolutely, all inclusive, 5-star, spectacular really, and we call it a pipe and slippers gig, which is where the show is basically in the hotel that you're staying in, and that just makes everything better for the band. Logistically, it's literally rock out of bed and you're there, so you can be doing whatever you want, quick shower before the gig, get changed in your room, down to the side of the stage. There's no, journey to the venue, and then after sound check, is there enough time to get back to the hotel, or are you staying then at the venue before the show? And all of those kind of logistical things then don't happen when you're staying where you're playing. It's wonderful, and thankfully where we were staying and playing was exceptional. The stage crew, stage hands, front of house monitor guys, everybody was exceptional. The gear was great, the venue was massive, and yeah, the promoter said that we could have probably put on a second night with the demand, which is always great to hear, and that's been such a common thread throughout this tour with her. Like, everywhere's been sold out, and some places have been oversold and then I've had to turn people away. Like, it's been incredible. It's been really good. So I'll post a bit of for anyone that's interested. If you're not, you can skip on. But I'll post a bit of footage and some pictures from the trip. And yeah, see you back on the bike in a moment.
گاه دلخور ز تو گاه دل تنگ ترم با تو از سایه تو ناهماهنگ ترم ناهماهنگ ترم دلتنگی و دل شوره و دل واپسی را نمیام بعد تو با هر کس و هر ناکسی کاشکی به دادم برسی تو لحظه واپسی به غیر عشقم همه تنام بذارین مرخصی به غیر عشقم همه تنها بذارین مرخصی از اب جای بارون آتیش میاد بعد تو کاری ندارم دیگه چی پیش میاد
And can you believe that? As soon as I've just waxed lyrical about how they built this road just for me, seemingly there's a massive flipping traffic jam. However, there are advantages of riding a motorcycle. The commentator's curse. Deary me, this is the most scenic bit here, down this valley bit here, and I was thinking, do you know what, it's going to be quiet. It's going to be quiet, there's going to be nobody here, it's going to be stunning. In all the years I've driven this road. It's never been like this. Oh, well, it's all good. The whole purpose of this route I chose was there was going to be no traffic and I could wax lyrical about the beauty of countryside motorcycling. But, as with most plans in life, the universe has got in the way. Oh well. There's a lesson in there. There's a lesson in there somewhere. Check this out. Loving this. Is that the new? That's the new GS Adventure and a R1250, isn't it? What a fantastic rig they've got there. A motorhome with two of the best bikes you can get. Look at that. And he's immediately moved out of my way. Yeah, man. What a ledge. And we're through. What a lovely, beautiful, therapeutic and scenic journey that was. Dearie me. Visor down. There we go. It's looking like it's going to be the same on the way back too, so I might forfeit the super scenic and go Newport, so M40 to Newport, and then go M4, M5. Yeah. The intention was a nice blast through the Welsh valleys, and it's going to turn out to be mostly traffic driving and then 80 miles on the motorway. So, be careful what you wish for, I guess. Just remember that ideally I need to stop for a thumbnail somewhere. So maybe the next lay-by. I think there's another one not too far ahead. And I'll get a thumbnail for the video. This is basically more what I had in mind. A nice cruise control, sun going down. It's not too cold. This is perfect. That last bit, not perfect. Here we go. I don't think there's anybody in it. Fantastic. There we go, look at that. Into neutral before I've even stopped. Look at that. Oh! Right. Oh! Let's get a thumbnail. There we go. That'll do. So we're approaching the end of the M50 stretch. And then because the traffic's so bad going the other way, I have decided I am going to do M4, M5 home. So that will probably not be photogenic enough to warrant the camera being on. So I shall sign off now. Thank you ever so much for everybody for watching and commenting and liking and subscribing. I really appreciate it. And I think I might plan a trip to the Elan Valley in Wales next week, if that's something everybody's interested in, and do the 5 dams that are there. I can't remember the name of the lake, but there's 5 lovely old dams that are there, and I'll ride to all 5. So that'll be the next video, hopefully, if I get a chance to shoot it next week. Thank you ever so much for watching, and see you soon.